Viewers like you make this program possible. Support your local PBS station.
Welcome to Barbecue with Franklin. A brisket can feed a lot of people, but sometimes you just have some left over. And you can do some really creative things with those leftovers. I thought it'd be a lot of fun to give a brisket to some Austin restaurant friends to see what their take is on leftover brisket dishes. And then we're all getting together for a potluck dinner to see what they came up with. Until then, later. In the last few years, Austin has really become a great city for food. With the explosion of food trucks around town, there's been a lot of culinary experimentation. So with this little brisket adventure, we're sure to get some dishes that are as diverse as Austin itself. Alex mainly cooks only with local in-season ingredients at Josephine House. But she knows how to take available elements and bring them together in a tasty dish.
We keep our cooking as simple as possible so the flavors of the ingredients which we're getting, which are so beautiful and just at their peak of ripeness, can really shine through. This is my first attempt at a barbecue sauce, and this is a blackberry pickling liquid that I have rehydrated these dried figs with, and they're still a little bit firm, but we'll throw them in the blender and see what happens. And then we have some smoked tomatoes. I was kind of waffling on the smoking of the tomatoes because, you know, I feel like the meat is smoked, so you don't want to just go crazy with smoke. So I think I'm going to add the tomatoes little by little so that we don't overpower it with smoke. Let's throw these guys in here. It's pretty good. I'll put one more of these guys in and a little bit of water. It's a little bit out of my comfort zone, especially, you know, being in Texas, where barbecue is taken so seriously. But I'm not going for a traditional barbecue sauce. Okay, so I think this is looking good. Yeah, so let's fry a pie. When making, well, this particular fried pie dough, the butter is softened, whereas when you make a normal pie, you want your butter to be really cold. When you are making this dough, you work the butter into the flour completely, whereas when you make a regular pie dough, you want to leave chunks of butter in, and that's what will make it flaky. And I'm not exactly sure what the science is, but this dough, when you fry it off, is extremely tender and flaky. So it sort of defies all pie making rules. Basically, we're deep frying butter and brisket. Along with Aaron's brisket, I have some fresh figs. Figs just, came in yesterday. That was exciting to get to use the figs on the first day of their arrival in the kitchen for this project. Working with local produce, it's pretty challenging to, especially coming up in August, I'm a little bit freaked out about, we're gonna have a lot of okra and a lot of eggplant on our hands and not much else. So we're pickling and making tons of jams and just trying to stockpile stuff so that we have, some local food that we can serve. So this is just a little milk that I'm brushing around the edges. It'll act as a little bit of glue to seal the pies together. Okay, so now I'm gonna fill these guys with some of the filling. So the filling has the brisket, which I pretty much tore by hand, and some figs, and then some mint from our garden. You know, people eat mint with lamb a lot, because I feel like it kind of cuts the fattiness a little bit. So I thought that would be nice to throw that into the mix to kind of make it seem a little lighter, maybe fresher. I guess a fried pie is probably most similar to an empanada, but it is obviously fried instead of baked. This is sort of my favorite style of crimping to do, just, you know, taking a fork and smashing it down. So it's doing two things really. It's giving it a decorative edge, and then it's also helping to really seal the two halves of the pies together. So I'm going to put these guys in the freezer. The dough has a lot of butter in it, and I found that they fry a lot better if it's really, really cold, if not completely frozen. I'm just gonna go right over here to the freezer.
Tatsu Aikama opened up a little ramen joint in North Austin a few years ago, and the town went wild. Ramen broth takes days to draw out the flavors of each ingredient, so I gave Tatsu his brisket a little bit early.
It'll be too easy for me to just slap brisket on top of our ramen, you know? So I wanted to try different, something different. It's an invisible barbecue flavor in the ramen. You know, my inspiration pretty much came from Japanese dashi. Broth is pretty traditional. We're just gonna be using our regular broth right here, which is tonkotsu. It's pork based. You know, it takes us about 3 days to make. I'm making a sauce that's kind of fun and kind of different to go with the broth. What I did was I got the whole brisket from Aaron, and I trimmed it down, and then I got all the leanest parts possible, and I dehydrated for overnight. So I make kind of petrified, kind of like a jerky out of them, and I want to make a powder out of these two, and I want to incorporate into our miso sauce. So this is petrified bonitos. It's been smoked, and this is a shaver for it. And in Japan, we shave this like so to get this. Trying to mimic this with Aaron's barbecue. And this is what you get right here. It's pretty much, it's like a beef jerky powder pretty much. After we grind the bonito flakes, it becomes this. And then now I want to incorporate this together. So I got some dry peppers here and some sun-dried tomatoes. I'm gonna make a puree out of this to incorporate the miso. I think incorporating something like barbecue works perfectly because, you know, barbecue is pretty much, you're just eating umami, you know, with all the smoke. Right now I want to toast this peppers and sun-dried tomatoes. I'm not trying to char or anything because it'll just get bitter. So all I'm trying to do is just kind of warm it up, get the oil out a little bit. So it's got a nice smell to it. So I want to soak this in the hot water for 30 minutes. You know, it makes it soft. I mean, that's all this dried peppers are. I mean, it's dried. I mean, can't really do anything with it. But I wanted to add a little sweetness and acidity. This is a little bit of tomato puree, and I want to add a little bit of tomato paste. What I have here is our miso sauce that we usually use with our tonkotsu broth. So I'm going to incorporate this, and this should give nice spice to it. Now, this barbecue powder I made is going to go in. I think ramen and barbecue is pretty similar because it's regional, right? You know, and everybody claims their favorite, you know, like this, you know, if they don't agree. So, and everybody's obsessed with certain shops. And that's just like, that's the same in Japan.
Andrew cooks what he calls ranch-style bar food with fresh local ingredients. He's sure to bring something awesome to our potluck.
Here we have our lovely brisket. Thank you, Aaron. We're gonna slice it up, slowly reheat it with a little bit of brown butter. We're gonna go in with some ground beef fat and let it render. This is going to create a liquid that we're gonna heat the sliced brisket in. We'll go to the fatty side. Because it's cold and cooked and we're reheating it, we might as well get as much moisture in there as we can to keep it from drying out. As you can tell, this is quality meat. You've still got some good marbling left, and also knowing it's from Aaron, you know that he's not going to skimp on quality. Generally, when I eat barbecue, it's a day stopper. I tend to eat too much, and it's a lot of heavy, rich food. So the direction with this dish was try and add a refreshing element to it. We've got a lot of little chicharrones in here that we'll save for the end. That are gonna be nice and crispy. All right, so we got our brown butter and our beef fat. We're gonna go with a little sherry vinegar. Go ahead and throw a few tomatoes in there. At this point, we're adding a number of elements, a little bit at a time, and has to tweak the flavor, and that's kind of the fun part of it, is dialing it in a little bit at a time. All right, we're there. So now this goes over the beef. So again, this is a mix of brown butter, beef fat, sherry vinegar, a little bit of water, a few cherry tomatoes, and some salt. And we will slowly warm the brisket up in this. See what happens. So we chose these ingredients based on what was available in our garden outside and from one of our local farms as well. We are driven by the seasons and by our in-the-minute inspirations. We've got some mint, fresh butter lettuce, cherry tomatoes, basil, baby arugula, cucumbers, got our herbs. We got some shishito peppers.
Andrew was nice enough to let us host our brisket party at his restaurant, Contigo. So we've got all three of our chefs crammed into one kitchen.
I had actually never had a fried pie until I moved to Memphis, Tennessee, where I worked at Sun Studio Cafe, where they made banana fried pies because that was Elvis's favorite thing. All right, so our brisket's out.
we're going with the warm peppers, a little olive oil, a little sherry vinegar, a little bit of love.
When we serve it, I actually made rillettes out of all the fatty trims I made. And we're gonna try and melt that a little bit with a torch. It should give it another layer of umami on the bowl.
It's pretty versatile. You can have it as an entree if you paired it with a side salad and had a savory filling. At Lambert's, when I was working as the pastry chef, we served fried pies for brunch service, and we also did them as a plated dessert.
As I like to eat barbecue, we will eat leftover barbecue. And that's with some good friends, eating family style.
Hey,
Hey, how's it going? Nice to see you.
man, this looks like you.
Does it?
If I saw this plate, I'd be like, Andrew did this.
Nice. I'll give you a little rundown.
Give it to me.
So we started with this mighty fine brisket. We sliced it thin.
Okay.
We made an emulsification with brown butter, beef fat,
Oh,
sherry
yeah.
vinegar, and tomatoes. We took all of the sliced brisket
Right.
and poured that emulsification over it and slowly heated it up to keep it from drying out.
I'm doing it, man.
Do it. Dig in.
God, those tomatoes are amazing in there. Which is cool because I feel like that's a lot of kind of what Contigo is just like all these like really fresh vegetables from around here, you know, like really nailing
We
it,
let
you
the
know?
farmers do the work.
And it's still like buttery and like velvety and stuff. And of course, you know, it's because of, you know, how you reheated it and
Sure.
everything. But a lot of times this stuff just kind of dries out and kind of congeals and gets kind of weird. But man, this brisket, you treated it so well. I mean, this could have been like fresh off the cooker.
Nice.
You'd never know
Good
the
to hear.
difference.
Thanks.
You've done me proud, sir.
We're glad to have you. For
Heck yeah,
sure.
man.
Always.
I'm stoked to be here.
We love when you come in.
Dude, that looks awesome.
So it's
So, talk to me.
my inspiration actually was, you know, it's like a Japanese cooking, right?
Right.
We use smoked petrified fish, and we shave it,
really?
right? And then that's how we get the umami and flavor out of it.
Gotcha.
right? So our thought was, well, the meat's smoked too, so
Why not?
I dehydrated it. Almost made like a petrified barbecue. And
Cool.
I made like a, so, yeah, I made powder out of them. and then I mixed it with miso, and so that's the core of the broth. The remaining fat, we made kind of like a rillette out of it. We made barbecue butter pretty much, and then we kind of melted it in the soup. So,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
it's fun.
I'm so excited.
Actually, man, try the soup first. Maybe get the
Okay.
flavor.
Hey, you're the professional here. Oh man, it tastes like brisket.
Yeah.
Like it totally tastes like
Yeah.
liquid brisket.
Yeah, liquid brisket.
Oh, that's good. You know, it's like it takes a really long time to cook a brisket, but it takes you guys like a
Yeah, so
stupid long time
yeah,
to make
so
this.
in a sense, I mean, this is like a 1 week of worth of work.
Yeah, it just
in
it
a
just
bowl.
always goes,
Yeah, because our
right?
soup takes about 3 days to make. You know, you used to sleep, you know, right by the pit and everything.
Yeah,
right?
you guys are sleeping by the kettle.
Yeah, we did that too for sure.
It's kind of one of those foods, you know, like you guys get a long line and stuff, and it's like I feel like people are kind of willing to like wait for something when they understand what it took to make it. Man, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Likewise.
This is so good. Thank you so much for doing this. I hope
Oh.
you had fun.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Cool. I see you did fried pies.
Yeah.
Do tell.
Well, there they are. Take a bite.
So tell me about the sauce.
So the sauce is a fig barbecue sauce made with dried figs and a blackberry pickling liquid and smoked tomatoes. And then inside the fried pie is your brisket with some...
Wait, what? My brisket?
Your brisket.
I'm gonna double dip. We've known each other long enough. I think
yes,
it's okay.
I think so.
Oh my God, that's good. It's such a cool like play on a traditional. I mean, like you got the onions and stuff. You got the fig sauce. Obviously, we've got brisket. This is cooked so perfectly.
Thanks.
I mean, it's moist in the middle. It's flaky on the outside. Perfect coloring. I've got a thing for figs. That is good.
Thank you. I have never made a barbecue sauce before, so that is pretty awesome that you think that that's good.
I'm proud of you.
I was kind of terrified.
Really?
to say.
Why? It's just rearranging condiments, pretty much.
I know, but it was out of my comfort zone. So,
Well-
but yeah, I like it.
I think you should be very comfortable with this. I mean, go fig. That's
Go fig.
awesome. Man, you nailed it, homegirl. I need more than that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Just ask about the. Oh,
No, no.
sorry.
Girl, you gotta fix your hair, girl. Arms crossed? I'm getting tired of that move, but that's my move. Or I would sit there with one hand up in the air and do the beginning of Unforgiven. I actually have a fig recipe on this show.
Oh, really?
It tastes nothing like that.
Awesome.